Bhagwan, over thousands of years, mankind's thirst for freedom has been channeled into religion, which ironically has often become the basis for separation and conflict. In the kind of golden age that you're describing, would all of these religions just disappear?
Yes. In the kind of golden age that we are talking about, I don't see any place for religion. Spirituality, of course, would be there, but religion as we know it today would be completely transformed into something else.
What would that something else look like?
That something else would just be a spiritual experience, that's all.
But some people really feel connected to Jesus and love Jesus. Some people feel very connected to the Prophet Muhammad. And would all of this be gone, or will people still have
Well, they would still feel connected to Jesus Christ and the Prophet, but in a very different way. It will not be a belief in Jesus Christ. They would actually see and talk and walk with Christ. And the same would happen maybe with the Prophet. So that would be their experience. It would not be based on beliefs. It would be based on real experience.
Bhagwan, we're talking about religion. For you, what does the word God mean? People have different gods. Is there one God? Are there many gods?
Yeah. I often say that I'm God. Now, it has to be carefully understood. To me, all life is one. There's only one life. That which is flowing through you, through me, through your wife, through the lion, the elephant, the tiger, the ant, through the trees, through the sun and the moon, through the universe. The same one life is expressing itself through all these forms. And that life is what I call God. So I am God, you are God, the ant is God, the elephant is God, the one in the prison is God, the crook is God, the murderer is God, the saint is God, the sage is God. These are the different manifestations of God. But when God manifests as a crook, we don't worship him. But when he manifests as a saint or a sage, we worship him. So to me, there is no creator God, a God who creates. God has become all this. He's not different from creation. It's like the spider which brings out the web from its own body. It's God who has become all this. So when I am helping a beggar on the road, I'm only helping beggar God. God is suffering there as a beggar, no? So I have got to help him out because I see that I and he are one. So I'm helping myself. That's why I tell people, look, don't talk to me of love and compassion. I'm not helping you. I'm helping myself. You're not different from me. It's a living experience. That is my reality. And that's why I say I am God. And I maintain that all people can get to this state.
I see.
That this should be man's natural state.
I see.
But for the moment, the one who can see that, experience it that way, we could call him God. And anybody else who can experience that way, he is God. And if all can experience that way, then everybody is God. That is the ultimate objective. That all people should experience God everywhere and that they are that God. That there's nothing else but God only. How could there be anything else other than God? It's just impossible. All that there is has to be God. So whether you talk of your will or the divine will, your will also is God's will, divine will also is God's will. There's only God's will, that is all. If I'm going to scratch, that's God's will. If I'm going to have a negative thought, that's again God's will. There's nothing else but God's will. You know? When you come to that realization that you know that you alone exist. Of course, you don't feel lonely, but there's a certain aloneness. Because you're everything, no? There's no second person there. That's why we say Advaya, non-two, from which comes the word Advaita, you know. So this is a real experience. It is within the realm of possibility. It is not fiction. It is not philosophical speculation. I'm talking about something which can be your day-to-day living experience. That is where the Deeksha should take you ultimately. That's when you can boldly say, I am God. That's why I take that stand, I am God. And that has been my feeling ever since childhood.
Yes. So when you say, I am God,
yes,
it's saying, I am God and you are God too.
Yes.
Only you may not recognize it
You may
right
not
now.
recognize it,
I
that
see.
is all.
Yes.
It is not that I created this universe. I have become all this. I have become the leper, the crook, the beggar, the saint, the sage, everything, you know. So I am the killer, the killing, and the killed. It's all one and the same. And that is my experience. And I can't say, aha, I am God and you're not God. No, it makes no sense. I'm only everything. But this can be everybody's experience because you are also God. No? The only thing is you're not seeing it that way, I am seeing it that way. And if I can see it that way, why not you? And there are people now today who see exactly the same way as I and Amma see it. So it is beginning to spread now. That is what I would say is the ultimate human destiny.
So, Bhagwan, even though everything is God, yet we can also speak of a relationship with God.
Yes.
What is the relationship between the incarnate and God?
See, to me, since I am everything, there's no question of my relating to God. Such a relationship cannot exist because nothing other than me exists for me. I can only say I am God, that's all. When you get there, and then when you wish certain things, they do happen. You come to me with a problem, I listen to it, I know I'm experiencing that problem, it's me who's experiencing, and I would like it to change, and it changes. That is all. That's how the miracles happen. There's no question of my relating to God, because there's nobody other than me as far as I'm concerned.
That's your reality.
Yes.
For, let's say, for one of your dasas.
Yes.
Or for one of your acharyas.
Yes.
Or for a Deeksha giver.
Yes.
Or for anybody.
Yes.
There is, somehow it seems that there is the realization of what I am is God, but there is also a relationship with God at the same time. Is that possible?
Yeah, that is only up to a point. But then they go beyond that, it's exactly the same. But some choose to stop there for various reasons. But otherwise, there are also those who do not make this distinction between themselves and Amma Bhagwan, no?
So they would not have a relationship with you, they would just
They would say,
you.
we are Amma Bhagwan, that's all. They will actually say, if you ask them, who are you? They would say, I am Amma, I am Bhagwan. That's what they would say. You might think it is arrogance, you know, but it's not so. That is their reality. Amma Bhagwan are not the physical thing actually, you know. When you say I am Amma Bhagwan, you mean to say, I am this universe. I am everything. It is not a philosophical hypothesis. It is no speculation, it is no belief. It's a living experience.
Bhagwan, when you speak about God, as in the way you do,
Yes.
is there also something which is not God, which is like the opposite of God? Like in Christian tradition, they speak of the devil.
Yes.
Different traditions have the idea of something opposing God or something interfering with God. Is there something like that?
Yes. If you bring somebody and tell me that he is the devil, I would say, yes, he is the devil, and I am also the devil. I can't make a distinction. It's not possible. I am only he. I only become all this. But somehow there I am manifesting like that, and somehow I am manifesting like this here. So I am only that. I am the crook. I am the saint, everything, you know. That is how I experience things from moment to moment. Not that sometimes it is there, sometimes it is not there. That's how it is all the time. So I can't say, he is the devil, go and hang him. I can't do that. I can't judge that way, no? It's like judging myself. How could I do it? It's not possible. It's a totally different reality. The only thing is, everybody could get there. Otherwise, I won't be talking about it. Now, why I'm talking about it is because I know people can get there.
So actually, you came to this interview to be interviewed by yourself and filmed by yourself.
I am interviewing myself. One part of me is interviewing another part of me. That is it. One part of me, which is not experiencing it that way, is interviewing another part, which is experiencing it that way.
So it's a one-man band, really.
Yes.
Bhagwan, if there is a surrender to God,
Yes.
handing over to God.
Yes.
How does somebody know that they are surrendering to the will of God and not just to another part of their own mind?
Yes, see, you are only surrendering to another part of you because there cannot be another. When you say I'm surrendering to God, you surrendering to that part of you which we call God, because we call that the auspicious, the sacred, and you are surrendering to it. You're not surrendering to a third person or an alien. You're surrendering to your own higher self. That is all there is to it. And because this lower self is very mischievous, is causing trouble, when we say surrender, it is not in a very cheap way, you know, that you're a slave. It's not like that. You're just putting it aside because it's getting problems, that's all.
So let's imagine that somebody comes here and takes the 21-day course.
Yes.
Or even they just receive some Deeksha.
Yes.
And this connection starts to open
Yes.
to the deeper dimension, to the God dimension.
Yes.
And then, let's say they are in their home and some voice commands, it's time to eat a lot of ice cream.
Yes.
They say, eat ice cream.
Yes.
And they go and they eat the ice cream. How would they know if this command is coming from the God dimension
Yes.
or just from the addictions of the mind?
If it is coming from the higher dimension, there is a very nice feeling, especially in the chest region. Now, if it is coming from some lower dimension, there will be an uneasy feeling in the chest region. And if you begin to notice this difference, you would soon be able to distinguish between the two.
I see. So there's a physiological,
It's a physiological
marker.
Marker, yes.
Okay, that's very handy tip
Yes.
for all of us. Bhagwan, if someone has not yet completely merged with God so that they see, I am God, I am Amma
Yes.
Bhagwan,
Yes.
then what kind of relationship is possible with God? And particularly I want to ask you, people come here to Oneness University with all kinds of different faiths and religions. Some people are Christians, some are Muslims, some are shamans
Yes.
from different tribes. How can we enjoy this relationship with God?
It is left to the individual. If Christians come, they very often bring the picture of Christ and place it at the altar. If the Muslims come, they bring a painting of certain names of Allah. That's how they do it. And among the Hindus, they could be worshipping many gods. So the freedom of choice is left to them. And there are atheists who come, who merely relate to the universe. So depending on which God you're relating to, your relationship arises. It is dependent on that. So it could take any form depending on your personality, your conditioning, your background. So all that is an individual affair. So we don't interfere with that. We only tell people have some kind of relationship. If you do not believe in God, try to relate to the universe. That's how the whole program is conducted. And there are some who relate to Amma Bhagwan. The freedom is theirs.
To any seekers or disciples